Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Phillies Thoughts of Vidcast. And today I'm joined by Nats Report as we're going to be talking about the World Series between the Houston Astros and the Washington Nationals. Obviously, Houston Astros advanced to the World Series last night when they defeated the New York Yankees. We're going to be seeing the Astros back in the World Series. Obviously, 2 years ago they were in the World Series when they faced the Los Angeles Dodgers and they defeated them. Could we maybe see them win another World Series, possibly, or could we see the Washington Nationals get their first World Series win in franchise history, even going back to the Montreal Expos? So let's just tick it off. Ted, how confident are you in the Nationals' chances in the World Series?
I think that the odds of the Astros winning the World Series they're definitely favorites. But I do think it's blown out of proportion. I just read an article that said the Astros have the highest World Series favorite odds since like 2007, which is, I guess, they should obviously be favorites with their superior offense, their superior bullpen, and their similar rotation. But I do think it's kind of blown out of proportion. I am confident that the Nats can hang with the Astros.
Yeah.
But after beating the Dodgers, it's hard to see any team giving this team a lot of struggle, but I guess we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. I definitely think that the Nationals have a shot. I mean, I think the two pitching staffs are pretty evenly matched. Obviously you got Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander, and Zach Greinke. Who's struggling in the postseason, but he's still a pretty good pitcher. You got Max Scherzer, you got Steven Strasburg and Patrick Corbin, and even Anibal Sanchez did pretty well. And it was pretty much a pretty easy series for the Nationals with the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals were really just like squashed like a bug by the Nationals. It wasn't even close. So I definitely think I don't think that's going to happen for either side in this World Series. I think this is going to be a pretty evenly matched World Series. I obviously think the Astros obviously have an edge on the offensive side, but the pitching is pretty evenly matched. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. In my opinion, I think the Astros will come out on top because they have a better overall roster, and I think they have a deeper bullpen. But objectively, and obviously, I know it's hard to be objective since, I mean, even if the Phillies were in this World Series, I'd try to find a way to say the Phillies win the World Series. It's kind of hard to, be objective about your favorite team. But Ted, who do you truly think is going to win this?
I mean, all season long, I've been guilty of counting the Nationals out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were 19-31. Harper comes into DC, hits that homer. Trey Turner's out for months. It looked really bleak. And then in the wild card game, which I was actually there, it looked like they were going to lose again. They got 6 outs to go. You got the best lefty reliever in the world pitching, and somehow they score. What was it? 3 runs in the 8th.
I think it was the home run from Rendon and the home run from Soto.
In the wild card game?
No. I thought you meant the Dodgers. My bad.
No. Yeah. So I counted them out in the wild card game. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I was not in a good mood, and then Soto just comes up with this hit.
Oh yeah.
Obviously the costly error and right from the Brewers. And then even against the Dodgers, I almost counted them out.
Yeah, so did I.
They lose game 1 6-0 with terrible hitting, terrible defense, poor pitching. It was not confidence boosting. And then you're down in the series 2-1. You know you have to win the next 2 games, and you know one of them's going to be in LA. And they managed to have that epic 6-1 win in Game 4 with the Zimmerman homer. And then, which I was also there too, which was incredible.
Uh-huh.
And then Game 5 just starts with a bang too. Like Jock Peterson hits that double. Max Muncy goes deep. Within the first 8 pitches, the Dodgers are winning again. And you count them out. And every time you count them out, they come back.
They prove you wrong. Yeah.
So I don't think, I'm not going to count. I've learned from my mistakes. I'm not going to count them out. And I see the Nats winning. And I'm also 100% biased. And my opinion doesn't mean much.
Yeah, I wouldn't say your opinion doesn't mean much. I mean, it's still. I mean, you're not just saying it blankly. I mean, you have an explanation. You have a reasonable explanation. You know what you're talking about. I mean, you obviously have experience in this, and you know what you're talking about. But I mean, it's gonna be a tough road for the Nats. I mean, like they're gonna have to face. I mean, they're not facing the St. Louis Cardinals, who are just not a really good baseball team. They're facing a tough team in the Houston Astros, but. I mean, heck, the Tampa Bay Rays gave him a run for their money, when they were down, 2-0. They're like, I don't think so. You're not going to sweep us out. We're going to take it to a game 5, and we're going to make this really tough. That's why I see this going 6 or 7 games. And I think it's going to all come down, to the bullpen. I think it's all going to come down to the, who can get, who could hit for, who could drive in more runs. Obviously, I definitely think this pitching is going to be evenly matched. But obviously, looking at it from an offensive standpoint, we kind of talked about how the Nationals had success against guys like Josh Hader and Clayton Kershaw. Obviously, Clayton Kershaw is not very good in the postseason, but how confident are you that your Washington Nationals are going to be able to hit off of the Astros pitching?
I mean, I would say Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander are a different beast than what we've faced in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But psychologically, I feel as though this team is not fearful of anyone. I mean, you just beat the Dodgers, you just swept the Cardinals. They got to be some type of confidence in that clubhouse. And then, but again, that's all subjective. I don't know that. I'm not in the clubhouse. But I don't see them faltering against the Astros pitching. I don't see Garrett Cole slowing down at all. But I think they're going to hang tight.
Right.
I guess we're just going to have to see.
Yeah, he's that guy is an absolute beast, man. He's just so fun to watch. I mean, I think I'd love to see my Phillies go out and sign him to a.
Oh my God, that'd be a game changer.
Yeah, it would. I think he's a Yankee, to be honest. And I don't think I see him going to the Yankees. I think I read an article yesterday. I said on my last video, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when he's going to the Yankees.
Man, don't lose hope. I was reading articles that Corbin was going to be on the Yankees. Then he's the Nat now.
Yeah. The Nats were like the dark horse. Leaving. What was that?
No, he's on the Phillies.
Oh yeah, Harper. Yeah, and everyone said Harper wasn't going to the Phillies last year. I held faith until like last September. I was saying that Harper was going to go to the Phillies, and I held it out all winter long, and sure enough, it happened. And I think the Nats were a dark horse for Corbin. Really, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, they were not. They were like the mystery team. Like at first, I remember when they met with him, I'm like, they don't have a shot at that. And then like they swooped in and offered like 6 years, whatever it was. Like what was it? What was the exact number? 6 years.
140.
Oh my God! Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, Mike Rizzo is obviously really, really aggressive with that. Obviously, we all know. I think he made the right decision. I mean, he's a pitcher who ages well. He's very athletic, and you wouldn't just give out. I mean, he has a nasty slider. So you wouldn't just give that out to anybody.
Yeah, you don't make the World Series without signing Corbin.
Yeah, he's a beast. Yeah, he'd be better than any pitcher in our rotation, that's for sure. And if Aaron Nola was on the National speed, he'd be like a number 4 or 5.
Not 5. He would be 4. He's better than Sanchez.
Yeah, but
it speaks to the depth of the Nationals rotation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think he'd be a 5-starter, but. Yeah, as of I mean, Aaron Nola struggles this September are really concerning for me. I won't go into it anymore, but I mean, I definitely think that Sanchez had more success down the stretch than Nola did. But I'm obviously really disappointed about how the Phillies pitching was all year long. But anyway, going back to we'll go back to the World Series before we talk about the World Series. Let's talk about former National Bryce Harper. Obviously went on to sign a 13-year, $330 million contract with the Phillies this past offseason. So, first of all, I want to ask you your thoughts on every Nationals fan that comes on here. I just want to ask thoughts about it. What are your thoughts? Well, and then we'll talk about how it feels for him to be seeing his team in the World Series. But what are your thoughts on Bryce Harper right now?
I mean, obviously, you can't credit the success of the Nationals with the departure of Bryce Harper. It's, I would say it was partly coincidental.
Yeah.
I only say partly because the departure of Bryce Harper gave way to the signing of Corbin, which I think was a larger need.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't say like you can't blame one person for NLDS failures year after year. Like Soto did terrible in the NLCS, but the pitching was incredible, so he swept them.
Right.
But that could have been a way different story if the pitching wasn't there and the Cardinals' offense showed up. It's a team sport. I don't blame Harper for previous failures, but I do think that it is unfortunate for him that not only does the general public call you overrated every 3 seconds, but your team's in the World Series. And while you're happy for your brothers and you're happy for your ex-teammates, you got to have some negative thoughts in the back of your head. Like this hurts his legacy if he doesn't. If there's no World Series in Philly in the next 12 years, it hurts his legacy.
No question. Absolutely. I mean, as you said, I'm sure he's happy for his former teammates, but he's got to be really, really disappointed that he's not a part of the excitement. And I mean, I think you could, going back to that Corbin thing, I think you could justify not bringing Harper back because you guys had guys like Eaton, Ron Soto, Victor Robles to take his spot. But I think Patrick Corbin was the bigger need because I think having another arm in that rotation, I think it's really, really good. So obviously, last year was obviously a major disappointment for the Nationals. So I definitely think having Corbin in that rotation just makes it this unbelievable, probably one of the best rotations in all of baseball. Now I want to ask you something. Going back to the World Series, obviously the Nationals have had a couple of days off here. Obviously they're on an absolute roll. They won 6 in a row. Are you concerned? Everyone talks about teams cooling off. Are you concerned that your Nationals have cooled off slightly? Are you not really concerned about that?
I'm not concerned. After seeing this Nationals team come into the All-Star break extremely hot, I think they finished with an 18-7 stretch. It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was much needed after their terrible start. But directly following that All-Star break, they picked up right where they left off.
Right.
They came into Philly. They took 2 of 3.
Yeah.
They were down to their last out in one of the games.
Oh, my God.
Soto took Hector Neris deep. Like this team doesn't quit.
Yeah.
And I don't see this break being a hindrance because this team, as David Martinez said, is in need of a break because you exhaust your starting pitchers in the NLDS because you can't trust your bullpen, so you just throw Corbin, Scherzer, Strasburg whenever you need them. So this break was much needed, and I don't see it hurting them.
I agree. I think a lot of it's just mental, I'll be honest with you. Now, obviously, let's talk about the Houston offense. Obviously, the Houston offense has the edge over the Nationals offense. How do you think that they're going to handle hitting your horses, Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, and Patrick Corbin, Ted?
I would say that's hard to answer because I don't think they've faced a rotation like the Nationals. I guess the Rays would be pretty close. They had Glass now and Morton out there. And the Rays did force them to 5 games, which was pretty cool to see. Just a reminder that even the best teams can be pushed to the limit, like the Nats did with the Dodgers.
Right.
It's hard to predict this, but I don't see the Astros offense completely dying like the Cardinals did. They're obviously they're a different beast than the Cardinals. But I also don't see the Nationals starting pitching majorly regressing.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I've just had said, they did, play the Rays, so it's, obviously they're not as, pitching isn't as good as the Nationals, but it's still not bad. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see who wins this series and comes out on top. I think I'm stating the obvious here. And even if the Nationals do lose this World Series, are you still obviously I can't imagine you'd be upset your team lost, but I mean, I don't think you envision the Nationals to go to World Series in May. Are you still I'm sure you're still got to be so happy that this year was, what went like this, because I don't think you really thought in May that you'd be going to the World Series. So even if the national season does end here, are you still going to be, upset about? Obviously, you're going to be disappointed, but are you going to be like mad about what happened?
You mean if they lose the World Series?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it can be.
Yeah.
I mean, this team's performed better than any team in franchise history.
Yeah.
They've proved me wrong time after time.
Right.
Whether it's starting 19-31 and finishing with a wild card spot, whether it's winning the wild card, being down
3-0
to your last 6 outs,
or
whether it's beating the Dodgers or sweeping the Cardinals. This team has already proved their worth, in my opinion, and it would be so nice to finish it with the championship, just to make this season that much better.
Uh-huh.
But it would be it wouldn't be reasonable of me to expect more. But I don't think they're gonna lie on their backs for this series. I think they're gonna put up a really good fight.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I don't think you could really be disappointed with the Nationals Steelers. I mean, they really have proved that they're a good baseball team, and I mean, their atmosphere has changed, as it was. Like, you look at Team 5 years ago, it's completely different. You got like different guys in there, and different manager, obviously, like completely different people running that organization, and the people, players on the field, and of course, so there's not really anyone different. Do you feel like a different energy with this team than opposed to 5 years ago?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to judge because I'm not in the clubhouse, but I think at the beginning of the season, the energy was non-existent. Mm-hmm. You have a team that knows they're talented. They know the expectations are high. They know that there's going to be a lot of pressure because Harper left and the media is on you. Like, how is this?
Yeah.
How are the Washington Nationals going to handle the post-Harper era?
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't handling it well at all. They were trying so hard, and then it's hard to pinpoint when it turned around. But you bring in Gerard O'Para, and he lightens the mood.
Yeah.
And he reminds them that why are you playing baseball if you're not gonna have fun with it? Like, we're here. Like, you're not gonna succeed if you're not enjoying what you're doing.
Right.
So you obviously see that shift, and then I think a lot of the shift also has to do with Davey Martinez, because your team. I mean, any transition like that where you're going from 1931 to a playoff appearance and a World Series appearance, you need there has to be some type of explanation for that. And while I wasn't in the clubhouse and I don't know, I know that the one thing I do know is that Davey Martinez is the one who coordinated the Stay in the Fight movement, where he gave all the players shirts, and it was incredible to see, and it worked out.
Yeah, and Martinez has playoff experience. Obviously, he was the bench coach with Joe Madden when he was with Tampa Bay, and he obviously followed Joe Madden to Chicago. He was the bench coach with Chicago, so he has won a World Series in 2016 with Joe Madden. So he sat beside Joe Madden and has playoff experience, and he's seen what Madden's done. And I think a lot of people, when Martinez was first hired in Washington, I think they thought, like, he's a Joe Madden 2.0, like, this is going to be great. And it didn't work out as great at first, but obviously now it's been working out pretty well. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard to judge a manager because, I mean, a lot of team success is on a team's talent. It's based on a team's talent.
Yeah.
Early on in the year, I was opposed to Davey. Like, just watching the post-game interviews, he just seemed so positive, and it was so hard for me as a Nationals fan to be positive. And lurking in the back of my head, you had the 2018 season, which was so disappointing. And and then you just see the shift in team success, and all of a sudden I'm a Davey Martinez supporter. So I don't know how reliable my opinion is, but
it's reliable, of course. Now let's talk about another top star that is going to hit the market this offseason. You're the best third baseman in baseball, Anthony Rendon. There's been a lot, obviously, talk even going back to last year to going to re-sign him. How confident are you? Obviously, he's going to test the market. Scott Boras is the agent. Where do you think Rendon's going to end up, Ted?
I think a lot of it depends on the outcome of the World Series. I think if they were to have lost the NLDS, the likelihood of Rendon leaving would have been much higher. Because, that's if you lose that NLDS, then basically your entire career with the Nationals is summed up by a bunch of NLDS losses.
Yeah.
But you beat that team, then you sweep the NLDS, and just this different energy that's coming from the Nats. They're having fun, and they're extremely talented. And I think Rendon is enjoying his time with Washington much more than he was in the past.
Yeah.
And then, so if you make it to the World Series like you did, that increases the likelihood. I hope he stays, but who knows? I don't know Rendon's inner motivations. He might want to go closer to home. He might want to stay in D.C. Who knows?
Yeah. He has Scott Boras as the edge, and I think the person who brings out the biggest check is going to get he's going the one that's going to sign with. Obviously, last year with Harper, I don't think it's going to be as nearly as followed because Harper's he the cameras are all on him. But I don't think that this free agency is going to be as star focused. But it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. I think 92 Nation was on here a couple weeks ago, talking about, Texas is a big threat for Anthony Rendon. And I don't think this is going to happen, but there's talk that even Philly could even be a possible destination. If the Nats do not resign him, where do you see him going?
If the Nats don't get him?
Yeah.
It's really hard. Because I'm not Rendon. I don't know what he desires. Does he want money? Does he want to be closer to home? Does he want to, it's so difficult.
Yeah.
But, obviously the speculation here is that he does want to return home. And then that, obviously with Houston unavailable, with Alex Bregman as their third baseman for the foreseeable future, you have to take the Rangers into consideration. But again, that's speculation. There's no proof that the Rangers are into this.
Yeah.
And then, I think you just brought up Rendon going to Philly.
Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense for the Phillies in the sense that they haven't had an above-average third baseman in quite some time.
Yeah.
But it also wouldn't make sense because you're committing so much of your payroll to two former Nationals, and you're limiting your upgrades in other areas.
Right.
So it's so hard to predict. I just hope he stays.
Yeah, and it wasn't like last year we needed Machado or Harper. If we get Rendon, great, but we don't need him. We need pitching. We don't need.
Oh yeah. As a Phillies fan, I would, as much as it would be nice to have Rendon, I think it would be better for the team to invest in pitching and smaller upgrades in the offense.
Right. And we had everyone wants to blame the pitching for the Phillies. It wasn't good, but the offense wasn't great either.
Majorly inconsistent.
Yeah, it was so inconsistent. Everyone says the pitching was the whole problem. All these Philly fans, the pitching. I'm one of the few who says the offense it wasn't as bad, but it wasn't great.
It was average at best in terms of runs scored per game.
Right.
The Phillies weren't what they should have been. Largely because of, I think, Hoskins and Segura were major disappointments.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh.
Especially Hoskins.
Yeah, I can't even.
You could have expected more from Real Muto, and I think you could have expected slightly more from Harper. Yeah. But Harper did disappoint. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, he had a pretty good year. I think Realmuto and Harper were, pretty good players. I do expect.
Realmuto was insane. I think he was a top 10 player of 2019.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's so great.
He's so probably my favorite non-national player.
Yeah, and he's a beast. Yeah, I had a really hard time choosing the MVP for this past year in the Phillies. I really did. Realmuto was so close for being my MVP. I had to choose Harper because of his power numbers, but I tell you what, Realmuto is not far behind at all. But it's going to be really interesting to see what happens this offseason. So to wrap things up, how many games does it take for you think the Nationals are going to pull us out? How many games do you think it's going to take for it to happen?
I don't see it ending before Game 6. I think these two teams are going to be very competitive. I guess my prediction would be Nats in 7, but again, I'm totally biased.
Oh, it's all it's just. I mean, I'd be saying the same thing if I was a Nats fan or the Phillies were in this. I think I got. I mean, you could be right. I mean, who knows? I mean, it's fine. I mean, I think I got like Astros in 6 or 7. So I think that's my prediction. But who knows? I mean, anything could happen. I mean, this is a pretty evenly matched series, especially when it comes to pitching. So. Ted, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate you coming on, man. We had a lot of fun talking.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. We do it again in the future. Absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah, maybe after the World Series, if you want to come on and share thoughts or whatever, something like that. It'd be interesting to do. Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully, I'll be speaking as a World Series champion.
Oh yeah. Yeah, or maybe if the World Series goes into next weekend, maybe you could come on and recap one of the games or something. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. There will be Eagles video this afternoon, the pregame and the postgame. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Check our social media, link in the description below. I'll talk to you all later. Smash the like, subscribe if you have not yet, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you guys.